The John and Ken Show, John Kobylt and Ken Shampoo. You know, I've yet to hear, I mean, we keep track of the news on a minute-by-minute basis. There ought to be tons of Republicans screaming bloody murder right now, and instead we just get the news of two Republicans, Cacho Achajian and Paul Cook from Ukaipa, who voted for
about the prison contract.
The prison, yeah. But we ought to have all the other Republicans screaming bloody murder against Paul Cook and Cacho Achajian for doing that, and they all ought to be screaming now to Jerry Brown, hey, 50% of the deficit was closed today, because Jerry Brown admitted that they're going to get over $6 billion in revenue over the next year. The deficit was about $12 billion, so 50% of it is closed. Here he was agitating for $11 billion in tax increases for the next 5 years, and suddenly, for this coming year, half that's gone. And remember, his budget cuts are only for the next year. The taxes would be for the next 5 years. The cuts are for only 1 year. So you can see what the game is. The game is they're going to cut for 1 year. The revenue picks up from the improving economy, and then all that extra tax money undoes the cuts. So those cuts for this 1 year will be filled in for the next 5 years by all the extra tax revenue. So that was the scheme, that was the plan, and that's what the Republicans ought to be screaming about. $6.5 billion. Now, what if that becomes $8 or $10 billion? Why should we commit to any taxes? Why are there Republican assemblymen and state senators talking about taxes when the surge in tax revenue is eating up half the deficit? I get it that the Democrats are completely whored out to their whoremaster union leaders. But what are these weasel Republicans? Why constantly, for years now, are we fighting them? They don't run on this. They're not elected for this. Let's play some of Jerry Brown. Let's play cut number 1 where he tries to explain this $6 billion windfall.
Because of the increase in revenue, we're reducing the amount of tax extensions that I'm asking for. We're also adopting some very important tax incentives to spur jobs. And I also propose to pay down a substantial amount of the debt that's been built up. I don't want to continue.
Stop. He ought to be paying all of the debt that he can. If it's $12 billion this year, a deficit, he ought to be paying all of it. There's no argument not to use every penny of that $6.5 billion towards closing the deficit. But the whoremasters, the teachers union whoremasters, they want half that money. They said, give us $3 billion. And Jerry Brown goes, oh, okay. And he'll agitate for taxes anyway. Let's play cut number 4, where a reporter asked Jerry Brown, how can you pass the taxes and then ask for voter approval?
The point of extending the taxes with a 2/3 vote until you get an election, does that break your pledge at all? Because, I mean, you told the voters that there would not be a tax increase without a vote. As of July 1st, that would become a tax
conundrum. So what do I do? What do we do? The Republicans wanted this. This is a Republican plan officially modifying what I said a year ago.
What?
It's a Republican amendment, and I have to accept it. It's part of the negotiation.
What?
It's give and take in this.
What are you talking about?
The good news on revenue.
Otherwise, you let the Republicans block all tax extensions. So this, to me, keeps the spirit, because there are no taxes without a vote of the people, because there will be a vote of the people. Or there won't be taxes, and there won't be a vote.
That's not what he said. He said in the campaign, no taxes unless there's voter approval. That's what he says. At the very least, if he installs taxes in July, the taxes will run till November, and we're not getting the money back. He said he was going to unite everybody. He was going to be able to get the Republicans on board. Well, he failed. He failed because there's obviously no need for these taxes if you got I mean, he just gave away the store to the prison guards union. He hasn't laid off a single worker, not one. And now the economy's perked up a little. We got $6 billion in extra tax revenue, and he's going to give away $3 billion to the teachers, to the union whoremasters. This is just sick. We come back. Going to talk to Eric Leonard.
Yeah, you're going to love that.
Yeah, who was he with today?
Labor,
Healthcare, and Social Service Organization.
I think one. I thought one group was ACLU. I might be wrong on that. I thought that's what he said.